Hello and welcome back to Drippy Drez. Today is going to be a short audio and I'm going to talk about common sense and logical reasoning. And two common misinterpretations of those terms is that common sense is stuff that appears to be obvious and logical reasoning is stuff like thinking about things in ways that are morally correct. Now, the misinterpretation of common sense isn't that off, but the misinterpretation of logical reasoning could not be further from the truth. See, common sense is simply shared knowledge between humans. Like, anything that everyone has been taught is just common sense. So, like, for example, stopping at a red light. Yeah, that's common sense. Everyone's been taught, that you should stop at a red light. Now, not everyone would do it, when there's nobody around, but that doesn't mean it's not common sense. Logical reasoning is simply about seeing things the way they are. And a big problem with that is that, we often think that, logic is used to distance yourself from your emotional side. It's actually meant to be used to help your emotions evolve. And a movie that does reflect on this lesson is Terminator 2: Judgment Day. But since I feel like with this day and age, it's a movie that would get a lot of mixed reviews, I am not going to recommend it on my podcast. Instead, I am simply going to talk about how logic can be used to help your emotional side evolve. But first, I want to finish talking about what exactly common sense and logical reasoning are. So anyways, common sense is just shared knowledge. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not necessarily stuff that appears to be obvious, because if that were the case, everything would be common sense. Because when you learn anything, usually it just makes stuff appear to be obvious. So common sense isn't defined as stuff that appears to be obvious. It will if you have it, but that is not the supposed definition for it. Logical reasoning is simply seeing things the way they are. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And people, we still think that logical reasoning is thinking about things in more ways that are morally correct, when in reality, that's more your emotional side. Logic is the way stuff is, but your decisions, the way you react to it, the way you deem things as morally correct actually is more of an emotional thing. And I know that we've all heard something about, placing decisions based on logic. I guess that could be considered common sense because it's something we've all been taught. When in reality, most people are better off making decisions based on emotions, because most people need to remind themselves that just because things are a certain way or were a certain way doesn't mean you have to go about things a certain way. You can go about things however you want. It's just that you need to remember, not to take logic too seriously, and you have to remember that life isn't about, going about things the way other people are going about it or going on about it. The best thing to do is go about things the way you see benefit. And I didn't even realize that I would talk about Shrek the Third until right up about now, but here it goes. I think that a lot of people, I can't say how much, aren't the people that they want to be. And it is because, they don't want to represent anything from Shrek the Third. Now, I know people personally who have done that, And I have to say that, like, that's, you know, I guess that doesn't really line up with common sense or logical reasoning. And I must not be the only person who's met people like that, because there's a lot of stuff on the web about how common sense is decreasing nowadays. And I really think that that people are using Shrek the Third as that excuse. And I know that can't be everybody, because there are people that like Shrek the Third, and there's even people that didn't like it, but who still follow that lesson of being the people that they want to be. But, I mean, yeah, I've already started talking about, how the other ones have affected society and just people in general, so I may as well talk about this one. Yeah, I really think that, a big part of it is because people don't really hate it as much as they think they do. They're just disappointed that that was the follow-up to Shrek 2, and they need to get over it. They need to get over it and even understand that if they're that upset about it, they can be the ones to remake it. And I think, that's still a problem with this day and age. We still let the littlest things ruin our lives. We still go about things, a certain way, even if deep down we do in fact know better. And that's because, in 2024, there's still people that, think it's their job to fix other people rather than take care of themselves. And I think that a big part of that is parents. Because if there's something I've learned in life, it's that bad experiences usually don't make people the way they are. No. It's thinking that it's your job to fix other people rather than take care of yourself that leads people down the wrong path. Because think about it, nobody's born wanting to hurt others. Nobody's born wanting to do the wrong thing. That's something that they get raised into. And, most people are born, with this sense of emotional strength that they want to use. But it's their parents that raise them to think that it's their job to fix other people rather than take care of themselves. Or parents don't prevent their kids from thinking like that. And yeah, this is something that, we all should reflect on. And this is something that we should all choose to accept what happened and move forward and do better with our lives. Well, thank you all for listening to Drippy Drez. I will release an audio on how the other Shrek movies have, how people have used the other Shrek movies as an excuse to ruin our society. And I will talk to you guys again on Friday.